Hey, ladies. Happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of Revitalized Womanhood to the Core. Friday episode of Revitalized Womanhood podcast. And since it is the last month of the year, I thought it was totally appropriate that I take each Friday this month to talk about and reflect on what happened in 2022 and what we're going to have happen in 2023 going forward, right? As far as our core categories go, beliefs, bonds, body, biz, right? These are our categories that we're focusing on to set our goals. So I'm going to take today, this Friday is beliefs, right? Let's focus on beliefs. So obviously, I've said it so many times, I don't give into the whole new year, new you, or like wait until Monday to start going back to the gym, or I'll start my diet after the weekend, or anything like that. I don't fall into that category. I think, why not start right now? Why not start eating better now? Why not go to the gym today? Why not? You know what I mean? So as far as that goes, however, it is December and we are coming into a new year, right? So it does work out perfectly for this. So in the spirit of reflection, let's take a look back on 2022. Think to yourself, today we're talking about beliefs. So think to yourself, how do you feel? Okay, let's start that. How do you feel with how you have managed your mental health and your emotional health, your spiritual wellness, right? How do you feel that you have done with that this year? For me, I think it was okay. I did okay. I obviously can do better. Everybody can do better. We can always do better. And now I'm actually giving myself more tools to work in that direction, right? So what that looks like for me. So maybe, I guess, let's talk about that. I'll talk about what that's going to look like for me, and maybe something will trigger something in you as well. So as far as religion, I don't practice religion per se. So my wellness comes from, in that regard, comes from serving others, I guess. I guess that's how I would put that in perspective for myself. So giving back to my community, or giving back to helping out someone who needs help with something, or taking dinner to a family who's had a mama go into the hospital, or for whatever reason they need something like that. So for me, being more aware of what's going on around me, that and being engaged with my community, that helps me be able to stay on top of things like that. So let me back up a little bit. I looked up, before I started this, what are the most common things you would see on people's New Year's resolutions, right? And so obviously there was tons on body and fitness, and I'll get into those, well, of course, when we do our other categories. But for beliefs, I thought three. Did I do three? Four. The four things, because there was two on the list and then I added two. So the four things that I thought were really interesting was be more aware and take better care of mental health, right? That I love that was on the list. That's really something that you wouldn't be thinking of mental health and being aware of it in previous years. You know, like 10 years ago, I wasn't saying to myself, gosh, I really need to check in on that old mental health, right? No, I was thinking I need to go to the gym, or I need to do better at work, or I need to do better at school, or whatever. So I'm really glad that this is something that's actually becoming more of a topic. And the next one was take up a new hobby or interest. I thought that was a really good one. And I really do think that falls under beliefs, because that's something that's going to make your brain, your mind, your happiness, it's going to increase all of those things, right? It's going to keep you busy and focusing on something that you're excited about and that you're happy about and you're passionate about, rather than having downtime and it's like idle hands, right? It's the devil's playground. So if you have a brain, if your mind, if you're not keeping it busy, you're going to start to fall into these ruts of like negative thinking or any kind of negativity. So we'll move on. Next. So one of the ones that I added was spend less time on social media. I think that is a huge. And I realize that's funny to say that. And then I'm like, and go to Revitalized Womanhood on Instagram, or share whatever you see that you like on your Instagram. But you know what I mean by this. It's stopping the swiping and swiping and swiping and swiping and swiping and scrolling and spending your life just scrolling through other people's lives and what's going on in other people's social media world, rather than living in your own world, right? That brings us to all sorts of things, which I'll get back over to, you know. And then the last one was very vague, reduce stress. So reduce stress, that is so general, but I'm going to bring it into the beliefs category for how you can go about reducing your stress. So one of the most important things for me, and I actually put it on one of my goals when I first started this company, I wrote down my own goals for Bonds, Beliefs, Bonds, Body, and Biz. And my belief says dive into affirmations, utilize and share, start researching and having conversations with women who are familiar. Okay. Isn't that funny? So when I started, I didn't really know. So this was in June, right? I knew what an affirmation was, but I didn't use them. I didn't incorporate them into my life. And I am a huge fan of it. I am a huge supporter of it. I encourage my members in the sisterhood to do affirmations. I've even encouraged them to go even further and do that. Have you heard of that technique where you stare in the mirror and stare like into your own eyes and say positive things about yourself? So anyway, I think that starting your day off like immediately, right when you wake up, right? A lot of people have prayer, right? Morning prayer. And that's amazing. Keep doing that. Continue. I totally encourage that. I think prayer and affirmations in the morning put your mind into a place of peacefulness, happiness, gratefulness, right? Because you're reflecting on things and you're putting your mind into a positive place, right? So what better way to start your day than that? And then your wonderful cup of coffee or tea, right? So I'm wholeheartedly into that. So step 1, start your day with prayer and or affirmations, all right? Next, be intentional about being assertive. This one is interesting because it's going to take work. It's going to make you be completely out of your comfort zone. Some of you, I know some of you, this is like, I'm asking you basically to run to Florida from Utah. Okay. Being assertive. You have to get better at communicating what your needs are. So I cannot expect Rick to read my mind, right? I cannot expect him to understand if something's bothering me. If I can't communicate that to him, that something's bothering me, and maybe not even just communicate it to him, help him understand why something is bothering me, how can I expect him to help me fix it or stop doing it, whatever it is, right? So I've used this example before. One of my ladies in our community, she has a brain dump notepad that she just writes down, like kind of like a to-do list, but anything that's in her brain that's just rattling around in there, she's just been writing it down. Well, she told us in one of our meetings that she just had set it on the center of the kitchen table, and randomly her husband started checking things off her list for her. And I thought, that's so great. Good for him. Like, she didn't have to nag him. She didn't have to ask him. She didn't have to, she didn't even say anything is what she said. She didn't even say anything about it. It was just her to-do list. That's just all these things rattling around in her brain. And he took it upon himself to start lightening her load. Wow. Okay. What a great idea. She can't expect him to know what's going on in her brain if she's not communicating it, right? So that's a great one. We need to be better at communicating what our needs are and stand up for yourself, right? If you've got too much on your plate, if your workload is too much, get rid of things or hand things off or give them to someone else to do, right? Okay, next, be aware of negative thinking. This kind of goes hand in hand with starting your day with positive thinking and affirmations and prayer, but it really doesn't, because throughout the day, you'll fall into the trap of, and this is where I really want you to be intentional about how much time you're spending on social media and thinking about things like that, because I do think that's where a lot of negativity comes into our brains. A lot of negative thinking comes into our brains. And I'm not saying that you're thinking bad things about other people. I'm thinking that you're allowing yourself to think, well, why is my life not as good as theirs? Or why is my house not as clean as theirs? Or why am I not as good of a mother as this person? You know, I think that's social media starts to bring in that compare game where it's just not needed. You don't need it. You compare yourself to yourself, right? If you want to compare yourself to somebody, have yourself as the bar, right? So if you want to be better than somebody, be better than the person you are right now, right? If you think that you're not as good as the person you once were, be better, improve on it. Use yourself as that bar to measure yourself. Don't use Janie down the street or Michelle around the block. Don't use them. That sounded like Jenny on the block. I did not mean to do that. Anyway, don't use these other people as the bar of what you're measuring yourself up against, right? So be aware of negativity and how it seeps into our lives, where it seeps into your lives. Be aware of where it's coming from. If it's coming from a friend that just talks about negative things all the time, maybe you shouldn't be hanging out with that friend anymore. Or if you have someone that constantly calls you to rag on their husband or their bad day they're having, maybe go back to what I said about being intentional, why can I not say intentional today? About being assertive, right? And letting them know, hey, I have some boundaries here. I will allow you to get whatever you need to get off your chest for the next 5 minutes, and then I won't hear about it again, right? You're either A, going to do something about it to change the situation, or B, I just can't be the person that you call and bag on everybody to. Like the negativity, it's toxic, and I just can't be that person. I want to hear the good things in your life. I want to hear about what your wins are, right? You don't need to be this person where people can call and just dump their own drama on you, and you take that on. That's toxic. So be aware of negative thinking and negativity and anything that goes along with it, right? Acknowledge the importance of downtime and quiet time, like to check in on yourself. So the next thing is value quiet time. So even if it's for 10 minutes while you're in the pickup line waiting to get your kids from school, turn off your phone, literally turn it off. Do not just silence it. I mean, whatever, but turn it off, turn the radio off, turn the car off, and everything. Silence, right? If you can find somewhere to do that, even lay down on the floor in a dark room, if you have the capability to do that, if you're on your lunch break, I have a friend that used to go, and actually we did it dispatch too. We'd go on our lunch break and we'd lay in our cars and kind of lay out. We'd like get sun on our legs and arms and kind of take a little nap and just have a minute to just check in on yourself and breathe, right? Don't think about anything. It's just like the practice of yoga where you could just be in the present moment. Don't think about what you need to do next. Don't think about what happened yesterday. Don't think about anything. Just be in the present moment and just be still, right? Acknowledge the importance of downtime. Next is not necessarily a belief. And you're going to be like, Gina, that's a body, not a belief. It's exercise. Yay. Yes, of course, this is the body. It goes in the body category. It also goes in the belief category, because what happens when we exercise? We release endorphins, right? We release stress. We work out, especially if you're really just angry and you can just go punch a kickboxing bag or something. You're releasing chemicals, hormones into your body that make you feel better, right? The runner's high, these things are real for a reason. So I know for a fact that when I'm not going to the gym, I am a much meaner person. I am a much ornerier, not happy version of myself. I know I am not nearly as frisky as my husband would like me to be. If I'm not going to the gym, I just do not feel good about myself. For whatever reason, it affects my brain and it makes me feel yucky. And I feel like, I get down on myself. But when I'm in my routine and I'm going to the gym every day, I feel great. I feel motivated. I feel productive. That's my most productive time is after the gym. That is exactly, and I'm going to get into that next, but my most productive time is after the gym because I feel great. I feel motivated, right? I feel like I could take on the world because I just got done with this great workout. And check in with yourself. It's not just about your body and your physical response to the gym. It's also about your mental response to what's happening when you're exercising. I shouldn't say the gym. Go for a walk. Just go for a walk, right? If you're exercising. Sorry, I shouldn't say the gym. Next, let's see. Oh, this is my favorite. Serve others. Serve others, right? If you are busy thinking about how you can help someone else, if you're busy worrying about if someone else is not eating today, there's all sorts of charities, there's all sorts of things that you can get involved in, but just the most simple is, like I mentioned earlier, is someone in your neighborhood, did they have to go in for surgery and do they need some dinners? Or does someone need you to walk their dogs? Or, start living in a way that is, how can I serve others and not so much what can I gain from others, right? What can I get from others? It could easily be as simple as calling someone or texting someone and just letting them know that you really, truly appreciate their friendship, or congratulating them on something, or, just going out of your way, taking the time, go out of your way to make sure someone's having a great day. Like, hey, how are you? We haven't talked in a while. I just wanted to check in. I miss you. I love you. Want to make sure you're doing okay. Is there anything I can do for you? Right? Instead of always, I feel like I am always lately the lady calling my friend Jen saying, can you please watch the baby? Can you please watch the baby? I'm so sorry. Rick has something else and I need to go record. Can you please watch the baby? This poor woman, who, bless her heart, is my most favorite person on the planet. I have been a taker lately, a lot. Like, my account with her is in the negative. I need to be putting in some deposits. I need to be putting in some, getting her gifts, bringing her candy, rubbing her feet. I don't know, whatever she needs, Jen. That's what I need to start being more mindful about in this time in my life where I am being a taker for her. But keep that in mind with yourselves as well. Did you serve someone today? Maybe make that a goal. I'm going to do one act of kindness or one act of service for someone every single day. That's easy to track. It's not that big of a deal. You could do that. All right. This takes us into my next one that I really, really love for checking in on ourselves and how we are going to make it better next year, right? In the beliefs category. How are we going to improve ourselves next year from what was happening in 2022? Now we're going into 2023. What can we do better? And it's a tiny bit of a plug, unintentionally, but intentionally. Join a community, right? Like the Revitalized Sisterhood. Men, like the Iron Council. I don't care what it is. I do care. I would love you to be here. But anything, join a community, get involved. And a church group, a mommy and me. If there's some kind of a park group that meets to get together with their young kids, join it. Join it. that's also like how we had exercise for body, but this for bonds, it's also of course for bonds, but it affects your mental wellness because you are part of a community and you are helping to serve others and you are having others help you and ask if you need any help with anything, right? You are becoming part of something that is bigger than just you. So your focus doesn't have to be just on how can I be the best me? And you're like, what is it? We talk about how these cute little cultures that don't have anything, right? They don't have all the luxuries that we have in the third world countries, and they still have these tribes, and they end up being the most happy, fulfilled people on the planet. Well, it's because they're not sitting around thinking, why am I sad today? What can I be sad about? Or why don't I have the best this? Or why don't I have the best that? No, they're part of a community that is all focusing on how to better serve each other, better serve the community, right? So that might help. I hope that helps you kind of reflect on how your mental health has been in 2022 and now moving forward into 2023, what you can do to improve on things or, make yourself feel a little better. So I want to just go back over this list really quick and remind you. So be intentional. Oh, I said it right. Be intentional about being assertive, right? You have to get better at communicating what your needs are and what you're feeling, right? You have to be able to communicate that. You can't expect other people to read your mind, right? And when you get better at communicating it, people won't expect you to do so many things and you won't be overwhelmed and you won't be like, oh, I can't do this. I'm juggling too many things, right? Because you've let people know that, no, I actually can't do that. Saying no, that's setting boundaries. It's great. Next, starting your day with prayer and or affirmations. Oh, and you know what I forgot about that too is end your day with prayer and gratitude journal. Sorry. I forgot to say that. So I'm saying it now. Begin your day with prayer and or your affirmation, right? And end your day with your prayer and or your gratitude journal, right? That sends you to bed in the mindset of thankful, grateful, happy, peaceful, positive, right? You start your day with the same thing, okay? So let's go there. And then so that goes to the next one. Be aware of negative thinking. Be aware of it. Be aware of the negativity that comes into your life and stop it before it happens, right? Be the one that cuts that out. Next, acknowledge the importance of downtime, quiet time. Put yourself in time out, right? We all do it for our kids. Obviously, it's important. We need it for ourselves as well. Acknowledge the importance of downtime. Check in on yourself, right? Exercise does amazing things, not only for your physical body, but for your mental health, right? And your marriage. I'm going to tell you right now, might be the reason that mine's still okay. Serving others, right? The next one, find ways to serve others, find joy in that, right? And then join a group or a community. Be part of something bigger than yourself, right? Look outward and it will come to you inward. Does that make sense? Thanks, ladies. I really appreciate you being here with me for another episode of To the Core on Revitalized Womanhood. And I hope this really got you into the mindset of, I know it wasn't my first Friday episode of December, but it's the first of my 4 series into bringing us into the new year and reflecting about how 2022 was and where we were at individually as people and where we want to go into 2023 and move forward into our growth and our goal setting and our just, personal development, right? Becoming the best Gina I can be, right? So insert your name there. Thank you so much, ladies. If you have any questions or anything else you want to add to that, please reach out to me on DMs in Instagram. Again, that's funny because I said less social media. And I would just love to hear from you and your thoughts on any of this. And if it's something that you really think someone in your life, the women in your life need to hear, please, please, please share this. I do not muck up anything with ads. So I please ask you to share the message, pass it along. Thank you so much, ladies.